Play Pinata Picks and Minute Madness exclusive games with insane odds you can't play anywhere else. Make your next bet at Sports Interaction. Download the app in Ontario. Use the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Or head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN to get started. It's 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
Okay, so I have a question about the Vancouver Canucks, who we have not talked about lately. Things have calmed down quite a bit there since Rick Tocchet took over. Yeah, they've been good. He did...
Good is a bar that moves.
I mean, we did call this.
They've been not trash. But they were this... By the way, sorry guys, we had this conversation when Bruce Boudreau took over for Travis Green last year.
Yes.
This time we could have had the same thing last year. Same conversation.
And this isn't a bunch of Leaf fans saying that. You know who said that on Vancouver radio? Yannick Hansen. That dude was on the Canucks a hot minute ago. And that's what he's saying. So,
what did he say specifically?
Oh, like we've seen this before. Like someone, I can't remember who it was, but they're like, hey, they're looking a little bit better. He's like, yeah.
Wow.
Like, I mean, the real test is next season, right?
No question. And here's Rick Tocchet again questioning their compete level because they fell flat last night against the Kraken. And I just think like, so I guess it's also come out, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that it sounds as though Ron Hextall was pretty close to having a deal in place for JT Miller. And the deal looked like this: 2 first-rounders plus, and they had to find someone to take Jason Zucker and couldn't before the deadline ended because Jason Zucker's pay is what it is, and to make the cap work, Jason Zucker is the odd man out.
That is absolute insanity from the Penguins. Like, you should be paying to get out from under JT Miller's contract. And they were going to get 2 firsts from the Penguins, who at the trade deadline were not guaranteed a playoff spot at all. Like, it's equivalent to the Bo Horvat deal in a way.
They have to make that deal, though, if you're the Penguins. You have to do something. Maybe not that deal, but you have to do something.
But I don't know if that's the something. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the Islanders are in a playoff spot right now, so the Bo Horvat deal's done okay. But if at season's end they don't make it, people are going to question it. I want to send a basket of flowers to the entire Canucks front office that they weren't able to get that across the finish line, because that would have been an all-time fleecing.
Well, I would think that that deal still probably materializes in the draft. Sounds like if Pittsburgh wants him that bad, it sounds like they don't care that it's 2 first-rounders, because Pittsburgh, that's their MO, by the way. When was the last time Pittsburgh drafted in the first round? It's been like twice in a decade. They're doing this because they're trying to win now.
You know what?
Right?
Let me look.
You really want to look?
Yeah, because now I'm like, all right, who was the last
And especially
Penguins
with Burke and
first-rounder
Hextall
of
at the
note?
helm, they don't care. They got Crosby, Malkin, and Letang for a few more years. You got to make it happen. You got to try one more time.
Yeah,
Do you want me to tell you?
Tell me.
sure.
Last year they drafted Owen Pickering
Okay.
in the first round.
I would have gone with Owen Ajax, but go ahead.
And the next one?
Then Samuel Poulin in 2019.
And then before that?
They got Kasperi Kapanen in 2014.
This is what I'm talking about.
Kasperi Kapanen is their 3rd most recent first-round pick.
That's what I'm saying. Is this team does not care about first-round picks. They want players that are going to play now to play with Crosby to win. Crosby and Malkin.
Their hit rate is miserable. So, okay, there's the golden age. 2003, Fleury. 2004, Malkin. 2005, Crosby. 2006, Jordan Stahl. I wonder why they won a cup. Since then, their first-rounders are Angelo Esposito, Simone Dupre. That one was bad luck. Bo Bennett, Joe Morrow, Derek Pouliot, and Oli Mata. Kasperi Kapanen, Samuel Poulin, and obviously Owen Pickering. Now, those last 2, it's a little early to call one a bust or whatever. But I think the best first-rounder I mentioned in that group was Oli Mata. That's not good enough, man. Holy shit. And yeah, Hextall doesn't have to answer for most of that, but
What do
wow.
you mean that's not good enough? That was winning they've done in that.
They've done a lot of winning.
No, but like
Talking about
you got to draft players for God's
Hey,
sake.
you know what sucks? No, you know where you win, Jesse. Where you really win is the draft.
Hey,
No, they
Pens
have done
fans.
some winning. They have done some
Hey,
winning.
Pens fans, imagine being one of the best teams the last 20 years in the National Hockey League, and then a guy from Toronto comes on here and says, you know what? Not good enough.
No, Jesse. It's not about that. Listen, you
That's
got
what
to
it sounded like.
No, you got to hit on your picks when you have them. Yeah, no, obviously, if you're going to contend, if it's 2016 and it's 2017, throw all your first rounders in the garbage. Get rid of them and try to win a cup, which they did. But then the first rounders they have used stunk. How can you deny?
No, you can't.
I think
You can't.
I think the Penguins organization as a whole has been perfectly fine.
Yeah?
The Stanley Cup rings.
They did win a couple rings.
Say something.
Okay, don't watch in 2023 because you won in 2017. I think once you win a championship, you should stop trying forever. I think that's the best way to run your life.
Hold on, we're getting away from the point. The point was they're trading the first round pick so they can take one more round. So they don't care
that's true.
about these first round picks. Clearly, the organization for a decade or more hasn't cared about first round picks. And you know what? They don't need to. You don't need to when you have Crosby and Malkin. They've won 3 cups already. You got to try and see if you can get that 4th one, right? As weird and odd as it seems, like, you don't underestimate Crosby and Malkin in the playoffs, especially. I, for one, understand them taking that risk. But my question is 2 first rounders, which would be mid first rounders, 15 to 25, maybe somewhere in there.
You used to look at that and go, that'll be around 30. You don't look at that and say that.
The Penguins are, a wild card team, so wherever it's going to be, 15, 16, whatever. 2 first rounders in consecutive years to the Canucks for that. Is JT Miller worth that with the contract that he has signed and the defense that he plays? Although apparently it's been better.
Sure, it's been better, after being called out for years on end. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Again, these games, if you come in, if you're on the West Coast, you have a back-to-back. It's Seattle, Vancouver. Who's getting the starting goaltender? Who's getting the backup?
Yeah.
Playoff team's getting the starter. You go in, you got Edmonton, Vancouver. Who's getting the starter? Who's getting the backup? Like, yeah. Dude, don't get fooled by this like I did every year when the Leafs had a hot March and missed the playoffs. They got the backup treatment a lot of nights. They got the I don't give a shit treatment a lot of nights.
That is a really good point.
Yeah. You know how fun King Street is? You come to town and you get to play the 25th ranked team. Fuck those guys. I'm going to the underground till 3 a.m. and I'll beat them anyway.
Yeah.
And they did on a lot of nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our last chance to tie one on before the playoffs, boys.
Let's enjoy
go.
it. Yeah. What do you got there, Jesse?
No, I just got a problem with people trying to take away the Penguins' playoff streak. I've seen a lot of that because they clinch a playoffs. Oh, they're probably going to get in the playoffs this year. They'll extend their streak to...
Probably.
I think the Penguins are probably going to get in.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
You don't think they're going to make it?
Aren't they not in a spot right now? I'm pretty sure they're not.
Yeah, Florida might have leapfrogged them, but I think
Florida
they're
and
going
the
to make it.
I have it right here.
I have.
It's real tight.
So it's Florida, the Islanders, and Penguins all at 78 games. Florida's got 87, Islanders 87, Penguins 86. So yeah, here's the thing.
Tight as hell.
Of the 3 teams that I mentioned, only 2 have a positive goal differential, and that would be the Panthers and Islanders. You can't be Pittsburgh and miss the playoffs in this era. You can't. You cannot miss the playoffs.
After handing out all the money that you did?
Well, you brought the core back for one more go. Mm-hmm. You and rightfully so. Who's giving up on that? But you can't miss the playoffs.
I think they could be fine. Next year, I mean.
Sure.
It's Jeff Carter's. You got to be done with that. And I don't know. Maybe getting rid of Zucker is part of the answer.
I feel bad for Zucker. Do you remember how he left Minnesota? They tried to trade him for like years, and after signing him to that extension, it was bad. I don't remember the full particulars. But
I do remember it being weird.
Yeah,
there were social media posts, and it was weird.
So can I make the point I was trying to make?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No.
So I guess I can't say they're probably going to make the playoffs because they're not in a playoff spot right now. They're of the 3 teams, I'm rooting for them because they have their playoff streak going. That's 16 years.
Sure.
It's the longest one currently in out of the 4 major sports. It's the longest one going currently. It's very impressive. I think it's only the 7th longest all time in NHL history though, which is weird because the NHL franchises have these crazy dynasties.
Detroit,
but there's
St.
been a
Louis.
lot of people online trying to take it away from them because in 2020, when the world ended, they didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
No. Explain how the Penguins drafted poorly, which led to them not winning at all.
You know what?
Tell the Penguins organization they've done nothing over the last 20 years since drafting Crosby.
By the way, if you're new here, let me just explain. Steve Dangle Podcast. I'm Steve Dangle. That's Adam Wild. This is Jesse Blake. And let me introduce our fourth member, Hypocrite.
No. What's going on
Because you
here?
said in 2020, the Leafs didn't make the playoffs. You said this. You said the Leafs didn't make the playoffs in 2020 because they lost in the qualifying round, just like the Pittsburgh Penguins did.
So the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2020 were 5th in the conference.
Oh.
The Pittsburgh
Do you know who I am? I'm those goalpostiers.
The Pittsburgh Penguins were a
all over the
playoff
place.
team.
Oh, yeah?
The Leafs,
They were a qualifying round team. They got eliminated.
I wouldn't take away the Penguins' playoff qualification in 2020. The Leafs, on the other hand, as Steve Dangle is choosing to not remember, were 8th.
Which is a playoff spot.
Where they were 8th with
Playoff spot.
how many? They had 12 games left. There's no way to look at that and say, yes, the Leafs were a playoff team. Like the way you corrected me when I said the Penguins are probably going to be a playoff team. I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. I'm rooting for them, but who knows? In 2020, we had no idea if the Leafs were going to make the playoffs. They sat at 8th place, 81 points. They actually tied with Columbus, who had the exact same amount of points. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, were sitting comfortably in 5th place.
If the Leafs and Blue Jackets were tied, how come one was 8th and one was 9th?
Wins.
Mr. Crit?
Regulation wins is
Oh
the
my
tiebreaker they
God.
used.
Listen to this.
I simply think it's funny how.
That you said the Penguins did nothing in the last 20 years.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
And I'm now trying to give them credit for their playoff streak, and you're trying to take them to... What? Why are you upset at Pens fans?
No,
Did they do something
no,
to you?
God, no. Hey,
What?
you don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
2 times now, I've just tried to give the Pens credit, one, for being a great franchise and not needing to draft well at all, because who cares, they've won.
You took
and
credit.
2, I'm trying to just give them props for their playoff streak, and I want it to continue, and now you're shitting on that as well.
No,
What's the problem with Pittsburgh?
I think they have a playoff streak.
Okay.
You don't. You, in 2020, insulted the 2023 Penguins and didn't know it. Because you said the Leafs didn't make the playoffs.
So me sitting here right now saying, hey, the Pens are awesome and they have this playoff streak, that doesn't count.
Right.
Okay.
Based on what you said.
All right.
Roll the tape,
All right.
Discord.
So
Find the clip.
So Steve, the next time you got a take that goes viral on TikTok of you saying that William Nylander is horrific or whatever that last one was, that should count. Because what you say in the past is law forever.
I've never complained about anything ever.
Awesome. We have set the parameters here, everybody. It is laid out. We know how to move forward. Thank you, Adam. What's next?
I don't complain, nor have I ever.
Yeah, I know.
Simply not.